Be with you in a second. Yeah, push. The other way. Thank you. Oof. Ooh. Ooh. Um, ooh. Hi there. Just a few random thoughts. What do we got there? That's all right. Tidy up. Just some random thoughts. Back in the '60s, there were bands called the Hondells, the Shondells, and the Rondells. And sometimes when I think of Tommy James and the Shondells and their big hit in Australia anyway in '66, I think, Hanky Panky, which was actually recorded in '63. In some ways, it's one of the very first punk records. Minimalistic lyrics, moronic lyrics, but with a really smarmy, nasty attitude, you know. My baby does the hanky panky. It's yeah, bit of Ribena for vitamin C. Today's record of the day. It's wrapped in plastic. I got two copies of this. God damn, this is one of the records that just came out in '65. And it's one of the records that just blew my mind. For Your Love by the Yardbirds. Mm, mm, fucking cunt. You fucking looking at you fucking piece of fucking shit. Oh, check this. I've had this single since 1965, okay? Now, I never particularly liked the B side. Got to Hurry. It's just a sort of corny, nothing sort of a song. And I should have realised, well, I didn't even look to see who wrote it. C. Rasputin was the songwriter. The Yardbirds, featuring Eric Slowhand Clapton. I don't know if this is on the UK. It's the Aussie release. Featuring Eric Slowhand Clapton, the Giorgio Gomelsky production, their first manager. People forget the Yardbirds and the Animals. Young teeny boppers in nappies in their 50s and 60s. They just go, oh, the Beatles and the Stones. Yeah, of course. Okay, enough is enough. But the thing is, and then of course the Who and the Small Faces. Yes. But people forget how fucking important the Animals, and then the New Animals, and the Yardbirds, which became, of course, Led Zeppelin. That was so important, very important. Now, Graham Gould, who wrote For Your Love, was just an innocuous song, like most of the songs he wrote. He ended up in 10cc, of course. He wrote some good ones, but they're innocuous. But this is where the Yardbirds became something so important, in that this is the end of Eric Slowhand Clapton in the band. They had a dreadful album called Five Live Yardbirds. Talk about the Stones are sort of passable B-grade blues influenced R&B band or whatever. The Animals were probably a step above that, A minus. Um, but the best thing they did was to get rid of Eric Slow Hand Clubs. And now I'm not knocking him. From 66 to 68, he was fantastic. But before and after, of no interest, no relevance. Now, what's interesting to me about this single is I always loved, I think it's a harpsichord on this, and it's the other single I was going to get out to compare with is this is called For Your Love, and then I've got the Easy Beats first single called For My Woman. Now that those those two singles came out roughly at the same time, and they just knocked the socks off my socks off, I tell you. And I mean, the singer Stevie Wright in the Easy Beats was about 16 or something, 15, and he just sounds so fucking sleazy, and the whole band does. And when I first heard it on a plastic transistor radio, I thought the backing vocals, I thought the actual backing vocals on an AM radio, plastic radio AM reception, I thought the backing vocals was someone just pushing the horn on a car. It's just this constant, I thought, wow, how inventive. But then, of course, it turned out they were just singing it. But what the fuck am I talking about? The harpsichord, Brian Auger. I never knew who it was. I just loved this so much. Even at the time, I knew this was very, very advanced. And they went on to just put out so many, a dozen great singles after this. They were never an album band, the Yardbirds, never. But the singles, oh my God. This was the first one to prick my ears, I'll tell you now. And it was, I never, always loved the sound of the harpsichord on this. And I never knew who it was, but I found out sometime recently, actually, it was Brian Auger of, was it Oblivion Express? I think that was one of his bands. I don't know where I'm going with this bullshit. Okay, let's get down and get dirty. 7:49. The Canadian Prime Minister visited Canberra this week. So Australia sold um, an over-the-horizon radar defence for $4 billion. Fucking cat wants to come out. Come on. Well, no. She was scratching the door. She was scratching the door, hoping to go out the front, but I'm sitting out the back. Yeah, anyway. Yeah, we gave him a 16-gun salute. And he seems like a pretty good dude. So Australia and Canada have become quite good partners. So I'll leave that to people with greater intellect than me, like Brian Embryonic Robot, or dare I say, Ben Rankins in Melbourne. See you later.